DC finally gets their win with Wonder Woman. You know, an actual movie with a 3-act structure and supporting characters and minor characters and actual dialogue that sounds like it was spoken from an actual person and not a robot. And now that it's been out for a few weeks and the dust has finally settled, we finally take a good look at it tonight on The Regulars. I'm joined by Jess, Billy, and our very special guest Chelsea to dissect exactly what this movie did right, what it did wrong, and what it actually means for everybody. Should be fun.
Or maybe not.
Hello everybody, welcome to Over a Couple of Drinks presents The Regulars! Hey! Oh!
Woo! Woo!
With me,
Woo!
as always, the lovely Jess. And we dug him out of a hole from inside his beard, Billy.
I just did E3 with you. Get out.
And welcome back to the show, the ever beautiful Chelsea.
Oh.
So tonight, like
Hello.
we said, we're talking about Wonder Woman. But first, what is everybody drinking? I am drinking Farmhand.
Who makes that? Who brews that?
Vivant.
Farmhands, presumably.
Vivant.
Wow.
It's really
By
good.
farmhands. It's made only
Farmhand by farmhands, by farmers for hands.
It's like, I'm drinking the wonderful taste of 312 cheap fucking Chicago beer. It's
Oh, I've
good.
never had that.
It's delicious.
Our connoisseur of wine, Jess, what do you got?
Box.
It's just Yellowtail. It's not box, but it was $4.
Woo woo!
And Chelsea, what do you got?
I'm drinking a local Jenny Lake lager from Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Put our river through your liver.
Oh, is that actually their tagline?
That's their slogan.
Oh my god, that is
Yep,
brilliant.
it's made for all from water from the Snake River
We'll make sure.
That's
in
awesome.
Jackson Hole.
We'll make
Thank
sure
God they
we
didn't do
send
that
them-
in Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, make sure to send them our bill, okay? Because that was like the best commercial ever.
Mount Pleasant water beer. I can't even imagine. Shout out CMU. CMU. Shout out.
All right, so tonight we're talking about a miracle put to film, the first good DCEU movie.
Yay!
Yay!
Third time.
We're talking about
True.
Wonder Woman. So, first things first, spoiler free. No spoilers, general view for anybody who watches this video for 20 seconds then turns it off, aka everyone.
You won.
Jess, spoiler free, your thoughts on Wonder Woman.
Well, yeah, I would confirm that DC did it right. I enjoyed it. It's kind of long. I guess that would be my be prepared to sit.
Yeah.
Okay, Billy, spoiler free.
I know, and that's why it's going to make my quick review hard. I liked it. It was good. I enjoyed it. It could have been, in my eyes, way, way, way better. That's my, quick.
Spoiler free, quick. Chelsea, go.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. Could have been better, but I really enjoyed some of the artistic liberties they took with it. Specifically the CG that I thought was going to be disgusting, but ended up being pretty magical and wonderful.
I hate to
Bill
sound
does
like-
not agree.
I hate to sound like we're a fucking broken record here, but I liked it. But I was a tad bit disappointed in it just because I went to see it late. So I was expecting the next greatest film put to cinema. And it was good. Okay? So we'll get into what we didn't really like and kind of dissect a few things. So now we're officially in spoilers, so everyone can leave. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching. We enjoy
We're
you.
just going to talk for the next hour.
Thanks for tuning in for our opinions. Because we're
You want
important.
to take a drink?
Okay.
All right.
Heyo.
That's your mate.
I'm even wearing my Superman shirt today.
Oh,
I feel good.
at least I didn't wear Batman.
You should have worn.
Yeah,
I'm
that'd
sorry,
be
I'm
stupid.
totally Marvel.
Nailed it.
Listen, any criticism we now make of it, we're gonna get blasted by people saying we're just Marvel fanboys.
Yeah. Even though I love DC.
Okay, I'll take off the jacket.
Okay, she starts taking off clothes. Our viewings are gonna go through the roof, and we're gonna get takedowns.
We're gonna get 8 whole views this time, guys.
I don't know. Jess and I did Iron Fist, and we got like 157.
We got a lot of fucking views.
All right.
Okay, so We're diving into
never mind.
we're diving into spoiler territory here. Oh.
And Bill's dying.
Wallow.
That's what she said.
Ha. Drink.
There we go.
All right. I'm gonna drink out of my new cup.
Oh, look at that. Water, double fisting.
You know it, buddy. Okay.
At least he's not drinking gin from the bottle under the table, because the last time that happened, it was really, really long podcast.
What was that? Was that our? It was some of the. It was the horror movie list. It was a horror movie list.
Oh yeah.
Way drunk.
Yeah, I remember that. We all got real bitter at the end of that one.
We gotta do
Bill
that
just
again.
started drinking. Anyways.
We gotta do that again.
Heavy drinking podcast. I'm in for it.
Chelsea, you should check out that video. I got way drunk.
Oh,
I will. What episode was that?
It was the episode. It has a pumpkin on it. It was our Halloween episode.
and Bill's gonna link to it right here, but he won't.
Yeah, no, I will now. It's gonna be right on Billy's face right now. Okay, I'll remember to do that. I swear.
He's not gonna remember to do that.
I will fucking
You
do
won't.
it. Okay,
Oh,
so
wait.
where do you guys want to start with this? I don't know. I have a lot of talking points that I want to hit. I don't know if I really want to go too much into the plot, just because it was kind of straightforward.
We can start with your. Just talk, Bill. That's
Let's
what
start.
happened.
Can we move through the movie? Let's move through the movie, like kind of, sort of
Sure.
chronologically.
Okay,
I
so
think
so the one thing that I really actually enjoyed was that they went back to the original origin of Wonder Woman, and it was kind of like played off as a joke because it's really ridiculous and stupid. But I thought it was a nice little touch because in the original one, her mother literally carves her out of clay, and Zeus breathes life into her, and that's how she becomes Wonder Woman. So I found it really funny that they kept that in there, you know, and played it off really
Right.
really
But they
like,
got
ah.
both of them in there, like.
Yep.
Which was really cool and very enjoyable. I think, like they've had, because there's the new origin story, which is the whole her being like with Ares and Hippolyta, like
Mhm.
is a daughter of those two. I thought that was cool how they found a way to kind of blend them both together.
Right.
Yeah.
I will say the opening part of the movie. What's the name of the island they're on? I couldn't pronounce it to save my fucking life. But the whole,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about. The whole opening
Amazon
island
Island.
segment. Yeah, we'll
Amazon
call it
Island.
Amazon Island.
It's like
Free shipping.
I'm sure that's what the name means. It's just in a foreign language.
Yes. I found that to me the most enjoyable part of the movie, just to watch how the Amazonians interacted. Okay, we'll dismiss the terrible child actor, but
Yeah, this isn't Stranger Things. We have to give him a pass.
I'm running. I'm a kid. It was But
Look
besides
at me,
that,
I'm mock fighting. Ha.
Besides that, I love the part of her growing up until the introduction of Chris Pine, which even I liked as well. But
I didn't like it until she was grown up. That I was
Right.
still adjusting to the CG, and I was like, oh, too much CG. I don't think I'm gonna like this. And then once she was an adult, they made it beautiful and
Well, I was kind of
pretty and
I was a little upset that they rushed through it so fast, because once you find out that she is the only child on the island, I thought it would have been interesting to see a character development or a trait that would have carried through the whole movie of. I mean, we kind of get this, but it was more played off as naive throughout the rest of the movie of why she did stuff. But rather this I want to go do this, I want to go do it now would have been an interesting trait for
do it now.
I'm the only child here, and nobody knows what it feels like to be a child anymore because apparently they live forever or something, you know. And
Right.
It just would have been a neat little thing to see her forced to go to classes, forced to do this, forced to do that, and then have her really unload on these training things with Princess Buttercup. That's who it is.
yeah, you're right.
Princess Buttercup.
But that introduction of the powers, I think, is really cool. That nice little training segment where it's her versus everyone, which I think it symbolically comes down to what the whole movie is about, is Wonder Woman versus everyone. And that nice little part where she does, the whole wristlet thing and the big explosion happens. I was what the fuck? And that was the moment where I was yeah, I can get into this.
Yeah.
It was cool.
I also... Well, go ahead. I'm gonna talk about it.
They really do make her powers like outstanding and phenomenal, and like,
wonderful.
you know, not just like wonderful, and not just like, you know, like red beams of light shooting from her wristbands.
Right.
You know? Like,
Right.
I mean, like, it's awesome.
Yeah, and I
Like
don't.
versus the comic.
I wish they would have went into this more with the idea that that big like explosion that happens when she blocks the attack. If like, I wish they would have went in more about like Ares going, oh, there's the island, because immediately after, that's when, you know, Chris from Star Trek shows up. Steve, not Captain America, shows up, and I'm like, oh, did like her finding her powers cause the island to be seen, or was it like just a series of events that kind of unfolded all at once? I wish they would have like tapped on that a little bit more, you know?
No, yeah, they didn't really discuss that, did
No,
they?
it was just kind of, it was like, this happened and now we're moving on, and
I thought she discovered her powers and broke the secret force field around the island.
That's what I mean.
That was the conclusion that I drew by myself.
I would have liked an explanation there, because it felt like it should have been that, but it didn't say it. So, you know, towards the end of the movie, you're like, did they want to do that, or are they just kind of saying we're moving the story along here?
Was that on purpose?
And they didn't do the big thing that they do in almost every origin story, which is like, hey, let's watch the powers happen. Like Spider-Man.
Right.
Like,
Go, Web, go.
there's the one part where she jumps across to get the stuff, and she's like, I can run, and starts punching her way through the walls. But, like, besides that, we have no indication that she actually has super strength, or that she has these abilities.
Until she picks up a goddamn tank.
Yeah.
We were missing but we were missing the power montage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it, you know, it kind of helped that we didn't have it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So then the Central Powers show up, and so does Steve, not Captain America. Trevor shows up.
Wait, really quick, can I ask about the fucking force field? Because this is stupid as shit. You're telling me nobody in the fucking world, in the past ever thousands of years, have ever flown over this specific part of airspace, ever. Nobody, not a commercial airliner, not a fucking warplane, not anything. No one's ever fallen over and been like, what the fuck is this island right here?
It's like
and then
1919, homeboy. Okay?
But you're telling me no wartime anything has ever gone through that? A ship has never sailed through that?
Well, my idea was when they said where did this fog came from? It was like the idea that there was like a pseudo diversion, but since they were hunting for someone specifically and he was running away from something specifically, they went through it.
It's not movie ruining for me, but it just frustrates the hell out of me. The fact that
It's like
no one had ever sailed a boat through there before.
It wouldn't be a DC movie without a continuity error.
Hello.
Martha.
But it's like the Bermuda Triangle, or like,
it could have been something like that.
Atlantis.
But
you know,
okay.
like,
It could have been something they could have touched on. I totally agree with the whole idea of like this hidden island could have been touched on.
Or even like Bill said, like when she does that big boom thing, it like breaks the barrier, breaks the illusion, or something like that.
Like
that would have been cool.
when she's looking out over the island, she could have seen like cracks in the force field and seeing like this gray, like
Simmer,
Zack
something,
Snyder filter
Something
come
that
in.
would explain the fact that there are now invaders.
Yeah.
Though I will say, when that one soldier leans forward and like his face goes through it and he can like see into the island, and then he's like,
That's
the
cool.
fuck? And then he leans back and it's like shit. And, like, that was really cool. That was a really cool effect. I
Yeah,
really
that was
like
cool.
that.
It was real cool. So they show up. There's a battle. We see our first truly god awful CG person in this battle, which you've seen in the trailer, where like she sees the bullet slow down and then it hits a random Amazon in the back, and that CG was.
Yeah.
This is
it's really bad.
This is a running thing where this CG is pretty damn weak in spots, and other times it's okay, but a lot of times it's pretty bad.
It's when they start getting those particle effects going, like the explosions and stuff, that I think it hides a lot of the bad CG in my eyes. But when
That's
it tries
why
to
later
do,
in the
like,
movie it was better.
Yeah,
right.
But there's these moments where also you get the overdone slow motion. Biggest complaint of this movie: too much slow motion.
Too much.
It's 300 all over
Pump
again.
the brakes, please. Okay.
But we
Don't say
haven't
pump
seen-
the brakes. We don't want them to slow down.
Okay, hit the gas.
Hit the
and go.
gas.
Hit the gas.
Hit the
worst.
gas.
Like, I was actually dreading every fight scene. Because I
Yeah.
was like, Jesus, here we go again. Of course, this is also from the guy, before you start crucifying me for being a Marvel fan, was going in Logan. Really? More gore? Okay. Like, I got bored through the gore in Logan, and I'm getting
Right.
bored through the spectacle of slow motion. And I'm like,
I think when you do it in these really specific moments that make sense,
yeah,
that are important, that we're focusing on a detail, it's great. But when you're just willy-nilly just throwing it in there every 30 seconds, it's like, are we trying to pad the length of the movie, or are we trying to give a real effect to it?
according to Chelsea and Jess, they did, and it was too long.
Well,
So
and I'm all about long if it's like
worth
well
it.
done, but you know.
Well, and here, this. I mean, for me, it was like, it was not checking your phone or your watch long. It was, you realize, like, as you're getting out of the movie and you check the time, you're like, Jesus Christ, this much time has elapsed. It's great because it didn't really feel like that, for me at least. It didn't really feel like that much time had elapsed. But at the same time, I'm like, that's a lot to sit through.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
in general.
It was, for me,
I mean,
it wasn't as bad as Alien Covenant when I go, that movie was 2 hours long and nothing fucking happened. Are you kidding me?
Happened.
But
Yeah.
this one at least had stuff going on, but I agree with you. When you got out, you went,
It's still
Jesus.
listed for 2 hours and 21 minutes long. And that's not counting, like, trailers at the beginning of the movie. Like, I sat down to the movie at 8:40 and didn't get out until after 11.
Yeah.
And that felt like a fucking lifetime.
Yeah.
at least it didn't feel as long as Batman versus Superman.
Oh, dear
Yes.
God.
That's true.
Batman vs Superman felt like an eternity. Let's not even talk
Well,
about that.
because again, we're going to talk about why
I
this
think we
movie
have to talk about
succeeds,
it.
Is that this movie succeeds because it actually had a 3-act structure and actually well-written characters
Yeah.
enough and
And
supporting
Batman
characters that
versus
felt
Superman
good.
was actually longer.
I'm gonna
Oh my
fight you on
gosh,
that one,
just
Bill.
looked it up.
I'm gonna fight you on that one, Bill. Supporting
Yes.
characters did not feel good to me. We'll get to
No?
that when we get to the war
What?
section. When we get to the war section, we'll get to it because that's
Alright,
my biggest problem with the movie.
So Captain Kirk shows up,
It's fresh out of the Empress.
fresh there. He's naked. There's a joke about his penis, but really his watch. I found that a little chuckle worthy.
I think I missed
groaned.
that.
I audibly groaned. Would you consider yourself the average human?
I'm
I'm slightly
above
above average.
What's that? And
Uh-oh.
he's like,
It's my watch.
that's my watch. Yes.
I found some of that humor groaning, but I think that's part of it. I think you're supposed to be like,
It's
seriously.
growing, but damn, does Chris Pine make him?
Chris Pine was one of the most enjoyable parts of the movie for me.
It
Can
was
we
actually-
all just all over Chris Pine for a second?
I'm just saying,
Dreamy face.
Chris's have like has a good thing going right now because every Chris right now, I'm just like,
Shout out Chris Birch, what up, baby?
no.
He's never going to watch this.
No, he's
doesn't
not.
watch these.
If he is, I'm shouting out Chris Birch.
So the next big point is London. What do you guys want to touch in London?
Love the girl from Shaun the Dead.
Yes!
The fuck is up?
She's so cute.
Yes.
Right beside the girl with the curly hair.
Yeah, she was
I wish-
Diane.
I do wish that her character was just a little more fleshed out, but you know, her choices were amazing, and she reminded me of like a lot of the quirky side characters in like Fantastic Beasts. Did anybody feel this weird parallel between Fantastic Beasts and this movie?
Yes.
I know that that's like
And
weird,
now
but
that,
like
now that you mention it, like, I can absolutely
like
see
the
it.
feel of it.
Yeah, definitely when you're in London, you can feel that
Yeah.
like fantastic.
Maybe it's just the London vibe, but
No, yeah, but you've got these like weird characters that are kind of strange, like
Yeah.
all together in the space. It felt very Harry Potter-esque with like how you've got all these weird ass looking people with all these weird ass looking traits from different parts of Europe.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can get down with
It
that.
felt the costume design and the makeup design and the actual aesthetical design seemed really close to it, which is
right?
very interesting.
And
yeah,
I
I thought it was weird.
as the Marvel fanboys that Bill claims we sometimes can be, I love the feeling like that Captain America type feeling where she's like,
Me too.
oh yeah, I'm just gonna take my clothes off and put on this new dress, and they're like, no, like,
You
nope.
can actually do
I
that.
think you mean Thor.
I'm sorry, I did mean Thor, but
Yeah.
Captain America
Kind of.
Captain
But
America kind of,
Kind
but
of.
Thor,
Thor definitely more. So.
Thor definitely. That's
like-
what I meant. I meant Thor.
this is kind of where the wheels started to shake for me in the movie in general, because this is when I went, wait a second, and like the rest of the movie kind of infers it that I'll talk about it later, but this started to make it feel literally like Thor got duct taped to Captain America and shipped it out with boobs.
Yeah.
And that's where it kind of started, like, this, like, though very enjoyable. I will never say I didn't have a good time in this movie.
Right.
It's right here where I went, wait a minute, I have seen this movie before.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no. And this is this is where I start getting disappointed in the film. I'm not saying it's bad, or it's still really pretty good, deserves all the praise it gets, but it's like right here is when I went, uh-oh. Like literally said, uh-oh. You know?
Yeah. Oh, and
I think
what? You
I was just gonna say I didn't realize that till now, and you're so right. Like, it's Thor.
It's
Thor.
it's very Thor.
It's
It's
like,
someone from another planet almost.
yeah, it started to go, I went, uh-oh, and like then things started to fall into place, and I went, oh god, and I'm like, I gotta talk about this. This is not good, but we'll talk about it afterwards. After we go through the synopsis.
But there's that whole thing of like too when they're on the boat, it's like you can't sleep next to a girl, like blah blah blah. It's totally Thor disconnected, where it's like I don't understand your crazy human custom.
Is there a way that they could bridge that though? Because I don't think so.
But here's the thing, like, though I liked it because on the boat she had like the one up on him. Like he's trying to be a gentleman, like, no, I'm not gonna sleep next to you. That would just be too weird. I don't want to offend your customs. And she's like, the hell's wrong with you? Really? Like, though I'm disconnected from it, she had the one up on him, which I really liked. But it was like when she was in London specifically going, I have my sword out. I'm going to attack the turnstile door. And you're just like, uh-oh. And it's like stuff like that, but like
it went from being like very consciously funny disconnected, where it's like customs, to like, haha, wacky zany, how do you fight in a dress? Like to me it got a little too cartoony in this part.
But the alleyway fight scene I really enjoyed.
And then it brings it back down. I really like that.
I really liked it. I liked the one thing that always bothered me about certain Wonder Woman like stuff and like comics, and especially they did like a few years ago, when I mean a few years ago, probably like 10 now, they did an animated one, and I think Nathan Fillion was Steve Trevor, but they do this thing where it feels really weird, and like they totally reversed the role, and Steve Trevor is like the guy in distress kind of thing. They never did that in this movie to feed the fucking awful, like, many men stick up their ass guys, the it's reverse sexism. It never felt that way. He still felt very, very, like a guy there, but she's standing next to a goddess, like a literal goddess of war,
and she knows she could kick his ass at any point.
I'm saying it was handled very, very well in this movie.
Yeah, it just seemed like he was a guy.
Yeah, and the alleyway fight scene like hits it on the nose with, he's like, stand back, we're screwed, I'm gonna block the bullet for you, whatever, still a hero. And she's like, boom, and he's like, or not. And she like totally takes out all these assassins, and he gets the last hit, and I'm like, see, that was really, really well handled, and I'm glad that throughout the whole movie it's handled like that.
It's that equality that like both of these characters are contributing what they can contribute to make the team better.
Yeah.
Teamwork.
Alleyway fight scene big up in the London section.
War Cabinet skip, kind of pointless.
Hold on. War Cabinet. There is one thing I want to talk about in the War Cabinet that like confuses the shit out of me. Okay, I get it, right? I get the whole thing of like, she's a woman, she's not supposed to be in here. The whole fucking group concentrates on her. They shut the fuck up long enough to get the meeting done. My question is this: why the fuck were they pissed that a non-military personnel is in a meeting based on military shit? Like that would be unheard of. And I think it felt really weird to me that they chose to go with the idea that she's a woman.
Yeah, and not that she was. And
that was the second where I went, uh-oh, because I'm like, here it comes. Here comes this kind of like, we're going to bash down on women part so that she can come back and be awesome. Which she comes back and is awesome, which I'm totally fine with. But for me, as like someone who watches a lot of movies, I would have loved that script part to be like, hey, you're not in the military. Actually, who are you listening to our secret military plans? Get the fuck out. Like that's more what I was going for, instead of the argument that she was a woman. Because regardless of whether she was a woman or a man, she's not in the military. Well, she's not even of London.
They could have almost lumped that together.
Right.
Because there could be women in the military, but she'd be damn for sure that in a group like that, they would know all of the women who are in the
like
military.
or the secretaries of the generals or something like
Or the
that.
secretaries
That's
or
upper and up military brass. My big problem is that, and they're literally talking about the chemical secrets and all that stuff, and it's like, yo, the whole meeting in any other military thing would have just stopped, and it would have been like, who are
as soon
you?
as the
and what do
door
you do?
opened.
Like,
Yeah.
who are you? What are you here for?
So I felt that kind of like the idea of them calling her out as a woman felt kind of weird and uncomfortable to me in a script writing area. Just so later she could be like, I'm strong too. And it's like, the argument there should have been she was non-military, not that she was a woman.
Well,
Why
especially
Right, because there
Go ahead.
there would have been women that were like, I mean, I don't really know when spy work started per se. Maybe you know, Bill, but like, wouldn't there be women as spies like at that time anyway?
Yep. Yeah, there were like it was like it was frowned upon, but they were there. They had things.
I
It was
mean-
like this was the biggest war known to man ever at this point, and no one was going to really be taking it sitting down, which was just also like the same reason why, if this was getting towards the end of the war, I don't understand why like so many people would have been positive in London, because again, though they were winning, the stress on the world from World War I was high for everyone. So it's like, here's an ice cream cone and we're going shopping, and I'm like, this is really the wrong tone here,
Right.
But
at all.
they also never bring about like any sort of issue with being a woman for the villain of the story, or like one of the villains of the story.
Right.
Right.
You know,
Which felt weird for me in terms of the fact that they bring up that she's a woman in this cabinet meeting, but then you have this woman who's like creating all of this evil shit that's killing,
Exactly.
that's designed to kill millions, and there's no problem with that on the bad guys.
no
side.
problem.
Right.
No.
Bad guys are like, hey, you're down to kill people. I'm with you.
I guess they don't
English
care.
and you know,
Whatever.
like whatever. Like
Yeah.
Well, especially since we're coming directly off of the alleyway fight scene into the, we don't need her to be belittled here. Steve already knows how great she is, you know?
Right.
And it's not
right.
like these generals are ever going to see her in battle, so it feels very weird.
Yeah, and I would have seen that belittling coming from, hey, you're not military, get out of here. You know,
Right.
You're not a part of this group of high end brass, high military. Get out. And that's kind of my argument. It felt that like plot point felt weirdly like forced in there.
Forced in there. But
very unnecessary.
The very next scene where she's like arguing with Steve on the stairs, I thought was really cute. Well,
Mm-hmm.
cute in a good way. And I'm saying, oh, cute, haha. No, I mean, like, it was a really good scene because it showed like Steve remembering certain things. He'd be like, no, I'm going to take you to the front. And she's like, how do I know you're not lying to me now? And he's like, takes the lasso out and wraps it around him. And he goes, I'm taking you to the front. And then like, this is where it separates from other DC movies, because it'd be like, they would have just moved on from there, and they add that whole, we're probably going to die.
Yeah.
I was like, see, this is where someone over at WB and DC was like, we got to change something right.
Yeah.
Right.
We can still be funny. There's still that element of like still being funny and still enjoying in the comedy of the movie, but not having to be like, haha, I'm the Joker, funny bit section here. Like the comic relief, I think, was built in really well, and that's one of the best scenes to show it. So.
Yeah.
And Bill takes a big chug, and he's done.
That beer's done. I'm gonna get a new one.
Perfect.
So you guys cover the bar scene while I get a beer.
Oh, bar scene. Oh, bar scene.
Scene.
I quite love my little Inglorious Bastards scene where you start like assembling all of the nut jobs. It's great, the misdirection that the movie gives. Like, you've got this big fight scene going on. They're like, oh, we're going to get this guy because he's awesome. And she's like, oh, the one beating the guy up? And they're like, no, the guy getting beat up. And like, ha ha ha, funny.
See, that didn't like surprise, or that particular part didn't like surprise or impress me. And maybe it's because, I don't know, I'm a big fan of Martin McDonagh, and it just seemed like a very big, like, like, haha, see what we did there kind of thing to them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Continue, Jess.
I appreciated what they were trying to do, but I wasn't incredibly impressed with that scene.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't remember that So I'm gonna say it probably was not that good.
It shows how memorable then that introduction to those two
Right?
characters are. You have
Right.
Sam and the Scottish guy, who I can't even remember his name to be
Oh
honest with you.
yes, okay, yes.
You've
yes,
got
yes,
the slick
yes.
talker. Who,
Yeah, you're right. With the minor characters, not that memorable. You're
See,
right.
this is where my big argument comes up, and I think I'm gonna fight this later.
I
Once
think
we
you're right. No,
stops.
fight it.
Is
fight it.
these characters are super unmemorable, minus their one trait that they have. Like Sam's a
Right.
wannabe actor, and
Mhm.
the Scottish guy, who I can't even remember his name,
Charlie?
Charlie.
Yeah.
That's it. Is
Sings
just
and plays the piano. What?
yeah. He sings and plays the piano, and he's crazy.
And he's
Yeah.
crazy, but he's not actually a good fighter.
And he's a drinker.
No, and he's supposed to be a sniper, right? And he's
he
not.
is.
But
That's the thing. He is a good fighter. They just never let him be one. That's the problem. Oh, Oberon.
Oh, Baron. I
Bill's-
know.
Bill's getting loosey goosey tonight.
Bill,
Bill's turning
why
up
do you
tonight.
have to make us so jealous?
Because I lived in Craft City, USA, Craft Beer USA, so it's like I get all the good shit.
We were just
Yeah,
talking.
it's really good.
We're talking about how slightly unmemorable Charlie and Sam are as characters, because the three of us can barely even remember the introduction bar scene.
What's the third one's name?
Who's Charlie?
Charlie's
Yeah.
the British guy.
he's a
or
British-
the
he's
Scottish
a-
guy.
He's a
guy.
Scottish guy from Alien vs Predator. Okay, and then
Yes, yes.
and then
Sam,
Sam's
the
a spy,
actor,
and then Chief is the Native American.
the terrible acting.
Chief, yes.
Yeah.
We don't meet
That
till
was pretty terrible.
They were very weak
Oh,
in a standpoint,
yes.
but like they
Ooh.
did their job
No, they didn't.
in the way of like they were here for this tool and we moved on.
Yeah.
That, Like I'm not saying they were.
You're right. They were functional.
They were.
Do
That's what actors strive
Bill,
for.
do we want to wait to do big criticisms to the very end?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do. I really do.
Okay, because that's where I'm gonna get real heated.
So moving forward, we introduce all of them, and they're going on a trip.
They're going.
Duder comes in and says he's gonna pay for the trip.
Mustache Man. He's important.
Harry Potter guy.
Mustache
Guy
Man.
from Harry Potter.
Is
Sir
he from
Patrick?
Harry Potter?
Yeah, that's Lupin.
Yes, Lupin.
That's immediately I was like, that's what I was like when I was in the movie. I was like, that the guy from Harry Potter? My roommate's like, I've never watched Harry Potter. I'm like, shit.
What?
I was
No,
like,
I'm late too.
I
was
did
like,
not
I'm-
recognize that in the movie.
The second I saw him, I was like, it's the Harry Potter guy.
and yet the movie becomes even more like Harry Potter.
Yeah, I know.
What?
But
I just, I just don't get it.
spoiler.
Why is a DC movie like Harry Potter?
Because they were trying to find somebody to model their work after so that they could actually get a success.
They
Prefer
just
to
Stop,
do-
DC, stop.
duct taping movies to each other.
That's what people do.
At the end, it's just like a shoddy World War II gun, like magazines taped to it. For no reason.
Yeah,
A sword with a gun
like
taped
a
to
bomb.
Yeah.
Like duct tape, just held together with duct tape and hope.
Duct tape.
Duct tape and
Duct
hope.
tape fixes everything, okay?
it. So the mustache man, Lupin from Harry Potter, comes in. See, I don't even remember his name either.
Yeah,
Um,
what's his
Patrick.
name?
Hint,
Sir
hint,
Patrick.
hint, spoiler, Ares.
If you've made it this far in the
Horrible CG.
video,
We'll get there.
It was really? You went with him? Oh, okay.
With him?
Really? I mean,
They
With
agree
his
or
ends?
something, right?
You mean, what is that? Why?
so they go on an adventure to the front line. We get the biggest action scene of the whole movie, which we've all seen.
Don't forget the introduction of terribly stereotyped Chief, the Native American who's a terrible fucking actor.
We already
I am
talked
Chief.
about that.
Yeah, we already covered that.
The worst of the military.
You've been here the whole time, Billy.
You're jumping out of order and shit. You can't jump to the character introduction and then go back and go to the guy who's paying for the shit.
It's
No
not-
takesy backsies.
it's just not important enough to cover again, Billy. Crying out loud.
Anyways,
She gets to the front line. We have our big action scene of trench warfare, which leads from a trench warfare fight to a city fight that felt a little too Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
Which hits my second big ping of of when they hit the city fight.
Oh,
of that, this is where Becky got confused and was like, is this World War II? Because they vilified?
Vilified.
Villained. Yeah. They made the Central Army a little too much of villains at this point. Heads up, everybody! The Germans weren't really the bad guys in World War One. There were no bad guys in World War One. You want to know why nobody covers a movie from one side in World War One other than the German side, which is all quiet on the Western Front? There wasn't one side. Because they got screwed hard in World War One.
They did. That's why World War II happened.
Exactly. It's like they got left footing the bill, and they're like, we didn't even start this fight, guys. So it's like this scene. I was like, yeah, as cool as it is, you still have this idea that they were basically Nazis, and I'm like, they weren't Nazis.
But they weren't Nazis at that point.
I will say though. The best part of that fight scene for me was the whole, okay, so the door's off the tank thing, and they all run up and they grab it, and then, like, Chris Pine's like, I remember back from when we were on the island, and they said shield, and then she jumped. And, like, so, like, you show that, like, you're building the story into the fight scene. You're making the fight scene show that like, Chris Pine's paying attention to the stuff that's happened before, and that there's a reason for them to care.
Yeah, and it was a good writing moment, because it's like, you know, you could see certain things in like detective stories like that, or like, you know, the biggest one is like a lot of things that happen in Die Hard, where John McClane notices something and calls back to it later. That was like, this is right up there with the lasso of truth. Like, he does this again, and it shows that he's paying attention. It made him feel like an actual character, for Christ's sake.
And like, I thought that part was really cool, but I literally sat there in my brain being like, okay, in the fight scene that he witnessed, that was done once.
Right.
It's more of something that we learned as an audience during the training sequences, and less of from the fight scene where he was integrated into the storyline.
Right.
And I'm like, but that was really cool for writing purposes, you know, like the Diana Shield part. I was like, cool, like that was really cool. That's awesome. And like, it's very strange that he would remember that.
True.
Fair enough.
He's a caring man. He pays attention.
He's a caring person. He's a character. He's not a real person.
Back it up like 2 seconds from there, where they're doing that glorified, like, her versus the whole army thing. And, like, he's standing next to her shooting people with a shotgun, which also, that shotgun don't got that range, Sonny. I'm sorry. There's a lot of times I went, oh, it's not happening that way. But awful
CGI, yeah.
Right
so
there.
Bad.
Like, the lasso and her.
Yeah.
Chelsea, you haven't talked in a minute. Talk about how bad it was.
It was so bad. Like, well, that was a point where, like, the dust did not cover the bad. Like, there's just, like, it was just so flat and, like, minimal texture. Like, why?
Well,
Good. I don't know what else to say. Why?
It was also in this
like,
fight
why
scene.
did Post not fix that?
Right? It was like also in this fight scene, I started to notice like Gal Gadot didn't have a lot of direction in how she's supposed to deflect bullets. Because it's literally her going like this. And I'm like, it's so bad.
She's like cheering the other team on. Go, guys, go.
Right?
Yeah. I want to know who choreographed that fight sequence. Yeah. I was actually thinking that most, like, there's some fight sequence where I'm like, yes. And then there's other ones where I'm like, no. What is happening?
Well, what I also don't get is, like, why they CGI'd Wonder Woman in that? Like, why didn't they have Gal Gadot just stand there and, like, do these moves with, like, a green screen whip and just have her start doing stuff and like going like and go now kick here, now kick there, and like
my question is does she have the ability?
I would say yes, because I saw some of her training.
Okay.
Well, a bit of that.
Well, I'm saying
a bit of the answer to that question is, when was it filmed?
Well, yeah,
because she was pregnant.
Yeah.
And
there was some issues.
So that could have been that.
Maybe they did try and film it with her in it.
And it didn't work.
And then
this is like a last minute
It's like maybe that didn't sell, because like they do talk about how, like, you know, she was filming these scenes like in her state, but I'm wondering how many of those scenes they had to go back through with like CGI, because also it was like she had a little green screen belly.
A little green.
Yeah.
Okay, but they couldn't do like a double
A
and
stunt
like
double
Or
or-
a double.
yeah.
Yeah, like.
and like CG
Right.
her head. Like, come
Or
on.
just
Oh,
make sure
I'm
she has
not.
solid
I'm not
face.
disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing with that, because there are other things that they could do.
I wonder
To
how
do
post-production they got when they started doing that shit too. That's the problem.
Right. Well, and I'm curious as to when the filming storyline is, and why certain. Because there's some really fucking cool things that she did, which were clearly her and not CG.
Yeah, and
Oh,
it's like,
definitely.
why didn't they keep that going? And I can understand like, oh, because she was pregnant and because of that. But remember, Emily Blunt was pregnant during Edge of Tomorrow, and most of her scenes were all action scenes or sexy push-ups. Okay.
Right.
Right.
Straight up.
Right.
But I get like that could have been it. I just like part of me is wondering why they didn't do this. Like it didn't have to be over rubber banding or epic things. Like her standing there and like CGing all the guys being thrown and like
Yeah.
the tank being thrown would have been enough. But like because your eyes would be focused on her,
Yeah.
Right.
which is what we were on. But like again, we were going, oh god, that looks awful.
Well, and then on top of that, Bill, to talk about like the tank thing, like this is the first time where we really see her have some like badass super, like not just like I can punch a guy and he flies backwards, but like
I pick up a
I'm
goddamn
picking
tank.
up a fucking tank and I'm going to crush this motherfucker with it.
Right.
Like, and my problem is I don't see that constant build. I don't see that like thing where she like lifts a tree when she's fighting the guys on the beach or like whips a tree at a bunch of dudes. Like it just felt for me as someone who doesn't know Wonder Woman, I don't know the character, I don't really know her thing. I was like, oh, she has super strength. Okay, fine, let's go with it. Like let's do it.
Yeah, they should have done a better job of building up to it. Like the idea of when she was taking turret fire from the gun, like getting pushed back, and then like her marching forward a little bit more, and then like ripping off a roof of like one of the wooden roofs of the trench. You know, be like, okay, she's
Right.
really strong. How strong is she? Oh, she picks up a
Right.
tank. Or,
Yeah.
or even cut the tank out and wait to the end of the movie where she picks up the tank again as a build
Right.
up to it.
Yeah.
Right. Because we see her training, but we don't see her like actually realizing her powers in battle. Like,
pushing
this is her
herself.
first,
Right.
some of her first real battle, and like
Or
Yeah.
is this just
Yeah,
a
pushing
normal,
herself.
or a normal Amazon thing, or are all the Amazons are this strong, or is she the only one that's bulletproof?
it's
Clearly,
a lot to assume.
Is she bulletproof? If she gets shot in the head, will she die?
I think there's some versions of her where she is pretty much like Superman's strength, and there's some versions where she's just really good and she dodges all that stuff.
And she blocks it and she
But
blocks
like
it.
since she survived the Doomsday beam, I always assumed she was bulletproof. But
Yeah.
then
It-
Amazon's got gunned down left and right.
It
Sorry.
True.
seemed like she wasn't bulletproof. Her gauntlets were like what was actually she was deflecting with in this story. Like now,
Like
granted,
Thor?
it wasn't totally like. First of all, why only her gauntlets?
Yeah.
And then second of all, like why? How like, and maybe this is again bad choreography, possibly. Like it just didn't seem like all of that lined up. Like you're walking through no man's land, and the only thing that's stopping you from death is gauntlets.
And a
Like
shield. It's like you felt like maybe the guy
and a
like,
shield, which isn't getting shot through.
Is that's not like a adamantium shield? That's not.
No, because they
nothing
then also
special.
mentioned that there's nothing special about the shield, and then she's the weapon. Spoiler alert. Like so.
And my thing too with the No Man's Land, since we're talking about it, when they were like she was black with the shield, all this gunfire, and then all the soldiers run up next to her and they're like, "Oh, we can go!"
We
And
can
not
go now.
one soldier on the other side was like, "Oh wait, boom," and then killed them.
Well,
Like,
also the other thing was like these trenches are like miles long.
yeah,
And-
this
and
isn't
they're, like,
They
five
just
second
made it
run.
seem
You
like
have
it was 12
two-
feet.
You have like two machine gun guys shooting at her. Someone could have went down further and shot at her and killed her.
Throwing a grenade, or
Or
throwing
mortar.
2 grenades, or yeah.
They didn't want to do that because she's a woman.
Fuck history. Just ignore all of history. Oh, there's a one finger up right there.
No, wasn't there some sort of grenade thing? I think
Yeah, she
I might
like
be thinking.
smacked it. She like pata
Smack my bitch up.
and just knocked that grenade away.
I just think like they didn't really establish what her powers were, which does
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
That's another big problem for me
Yeah.
for the movie.
again power growth montage.
Points we needed it. At points it was nice that it wasn't there, but there's points where we definitely needed it, and this was one of them because again, it came out of nowhere. If you didn't watch Batman v Superman, which I wouldn't blame you for skipping.
Right?
Honestly, I
I
saw
had to try,
Batman
like,
v
3
Superman
times.
and I just blacked out, I guess, because I don't remember much.
I was
At
really
all.
drunk when I watched that movie.
That might have been the case. I just literally don't remember. So it was either like I blacked it out or whatever. Like
I think we all chose to black that
I
out.
think I made a hate watch to that movie. I don't remember. It might be a blur.
I tried to watch it specifically for this because I realized that I hadn't finished it yet. Because I have tried several times before this
You
to
and
finish
three
it.
fourths-
nobody would blame you.
And I finally finished it. Okay, I did it. And you know what? She
I
doesn't
did this for
translate to
you.
this movie.
She's
She
the
does
best.
not translate. Her character. She is the best part in that movie, and like her character from that movie does not translate to her character in Wonder Woman.
Well,
No,
it's
I'm gonna
like-
get at that towards the end because the ending has this total disconnect from 1919 to modern day that her character just doesn't match up.
True, she's evolved.
Well, and like I don't know about you guys, but in Batman v Superman, I was just so fucking tired with the whole concept of it. And I feel like when I watched that movie, I was angry that she was cast in that role. And like, you know, now like in the amount of time that has elapsed since then, and the more that I've gotten to know her and like her excellent performance in this role, like I'm not angry about it, but I think I was pretty
Right, no.
at that point.
I'm kind of glad I saw her post this movie because if I had seen her before, I would have been like, why is there a Bond girl? And still, I was like, why is there a Bond girl playing Wonder Woman?
Why is there a Fast and Furious girl playing Wonder Woman?
Right. So after
True
this big
that.
action scene, we get this nice little slow down character development scene
I hate this scene.
that we don't really necessary.
I hate this scene.
Her and
I
Steve
hate-
sleep together.
I hate this scene. I hate this scene. I hate this scene. I hate this scene. I love the scene for the guy playing the piano. I love that little moment. I think it's really nice. I think the dancing moment's really nice.
Yeah.
I think it's this nice little, like, da da da, they're human. They kill a bunch of people, but they're human. And then they sleep together, and I'm like, but why? But why?
But why?
But why? Because we have to force a reason for her to care about Steve for later in the film. We
Oh.
have to force that in there.
I actually think the what leads up to her caring more about him after he's, spoiler alert, dead, would have been better if they didn't sleep together, or they didn't,
Yeah.
or like they didn't even kiss or anything.
If something was like left open ended, kind of.
Maybe like Captain
Captain America?
America and another wonderful female character.
Right.
Captain America should be gay. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I'm going with the whole angle that people are going at when Cap 3 came out. I'm sorry.
I think you froze Chelsea. for
I
crying
think
out loud.
She was so shocked by my statement, I broke her.
Like if I had After Effects, I'd put a little crack down the screen.
Bill, this is what me and you were talking about last week, though. I want to put Wonder Woman in. I know it's not the best movie. I know you're not a huge fan of it, whatever. I want to put Wonder Woman in the whole Rogue One scenario, where you can have two lead characters, a lead female and a lead male, and they can work together, and they can fight together, and they can be awesome, and they don't have to have sex for us to know
Well,
that they care.
But to go back to what Chelsea said, I think it would have been fine if they would have left it way, way open, like Captain America: The First Avenger, with Steve and Peggy, where it was like there was all this sexual tension, and you expect something to happen, and like they get one brief kiss, and then it's all over. You know,
Yeah.
and like that worked really, really well. And since
Really, really well.
so much of this ending of this
Right.
movie is stolen from Captain America.
Right. Well, and like I said, it's that whole thing. Like, the one thing I really admired about Rogue One was, spoiler alert with Rogue One, skip this to whatever,
We're
was
not
at the
putting that
end.
back.
they're sitting there watching the fucking beam come down, and they just kind of put their arms around each other, and they're like, "We did it. We're good." And I would have totally been okay with Wonder Woman and Steve building that relationship between combat and fighting for a common goal, and that for me would have been like, "Yep, they're a team." And this is one of the biggest issues I have with the movie, is specifically the fact that they like sleep together, or it's implied that they sleep together. If they would have done the one kiss and been like, "Oh, that was golly gee," and then kept on, like, I would have been totally down with that. But I just felt like they used the sex as a way to get us to know, oh, they care about each other, and that's kind of agitating for me.
Which then adds to the end of the ball scene, which I don't really care about. I didn't really care about like this, because this big ball scene that they go to also felt really out of place, because if you know, again, history, you have to imagine Germany as a giant castle, and World War I being the siege, and Germany was starving itself, which is one of the reasons why they surrendered. So the idea that they could put together a ball for the main command felt really out of place and very, very jarring for someone like me. And I was just like, this doesn't feel right at all. I mean, it's a cool set scene, but like history-wise, you're going to do a World War I movie and you're doing this?
I want to know who was their fact checker.
Well, it's like
definitely wasn't Bill Henning.
Dramaturge. She was the dramaturge.
Like, if this was like, say, a few years back before, like, they're talking about Germany surrendering, I would have been okay with this scene. Yeah, because it would have the disconnect
somewhere in the beginning,
or the beginning of the war, or towards the middle of the war, but not towards the end where they were putting it. And I was like, this just doesn't make sense.
So we kind of have totally skipped over the entirety of any of the bad guys in this movie.
Well, because again, like, it doesn't matter that the two villains in this movie play a villain very well. It just kind of like puts that negative notation on the central armies of Germany, and it feels very, very destroying for me, because it feels like they should be in World War II and they should be Nazis.
It does.
Like how they act and how they do things, but then you have the whole like, well, there is no mustard gas thing because it was literally outlawed from World War I up, but like it felt like they were Nazis, and that was another destroying thing that I was going to talk about in my negatives things, because like I'm kind of skipping over it because it was so utterly forgettable for me, because I'm going, they are Nazis before Nazis.
Right.
Yeah.
Pre-Nazis.
So I don't know. You want to cover real quick them, Billy?
Well, you have those couple of scenes with Steve's undercover nature, where we find out why he ends up on the island, like why he's running away, and he steals the like chemical notebook of the evil Dr. Clayface or Two-Face or whatever the fuck her name is.
It was literally the
I don't know.
The worst
Who
thing.
cares?
And then we also know we have the Scarface of vile snorting, who gives him superpowers that lets him punch through shit. Yeah, it gives him Bane strength.
Bane.
And here's our two.
So Bane and Clayface, they're stealing from Batman again.
Bane and Clayface.
Here's our two generic, yet again, I believe, largely forgettable. The only reason why Dr. Death is rememberable is she's got a cool
name.
She has a
face.
Bond villain face.
Yeah, and that's really it.
Face is cool.
So we know that they're testing gas that like will break through gas masks, and Steve escapes and like blows up all of their work, so we know that they're starting over, and that's kind of those little flashbacks that we get throughout the course of the movie that I don't think they do a lot for the movie in terms of the plot, except show us what the bad guys look like.
Right.
And like add the whole misdirection of
it's a misdirection of like who's
General
really
Stryker.
Ares.
General Stryker from Wolverine Origins is like, I might be Ares, and you're just like, yeah, I can smell a red herring coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
People.
Right.
Yeah.
So we leave off with them banging. They bang.
They go to a ball which has like one cute scene of her like sizing up a lady in a dress to steal her dress.
Yeah.
Like,
that whole little scene is kind of funny, where they're like, no, Diane, you just stay here. Just like, shh, we don't need you to fuck shit up right now. Just chill. And she's like, nah, I'm going to do this anyways. And potentially fuck everything up.
And she potentially fucks everything up.
I love all the memes of people trying to figure out where her sword is.
There's memes for it?
Yeah, there's these articles on the internet of like where she how she stores her sword, like on the square of her bag and everything like that, and where's the blade. Like, where's the blade of that?
Like in her
face
butt
of
crack. Oh my
Right?
I,
Like how long
not
it is.
something. I remember watching the movie thinking about how badass that looked and why don't we do that more often? And then like I was reading this article and it's got like a little cartoon drawing of like where the blade is probably located and how the fuck does that work?
If she farts at like
So she's like
mouth
a sword swallower, but with
with her butt.
So with
Oh
her
my
butt
God.
cheeks.
So here, real quick here. It's called DC Wonder Woman Diana Prince and Hidden Sword Doll. It's a doll. It's a Barbie doll.
Butt. That sword goes right in her butt. That sword goes in her butt. I never even thought about that. That's a butt sword.
Yeah, no, they definitely, there's some like hand-drawn pictures of like where people think that. And I was just like, why? I didn't even think about that. I just thought about how badass it looked. And then, lo, here comes the internet to ruin everything.
Well,
So we have the.
It's also like how unrealistic that is. Like she's walking around with a sword in her butt, and
nobody's
nobody
like,
notices.
How do you think it's staying in place?
Or
That's
even-
how she's just clenching.
Even General Striker goes, "I'm going to dance with you, hand on the back." What's this? Sheik?
Wow, this feels like a sword hilt. I have no idea what this is because it's World War II and we have guns now. Like
World War One.
World War I.
World
See,
War
even
One,
Jess
and we
is
have
confused
guns
by
now.
that.
okay, I thought it was World War II the whole time.
Like in my brain, I knew that it was World War One, but the Nazis were so
Right.
convincing that I was like,
confused.
"But wait."
You know, here's
And then suddenly it didn't matter to me anymore.
here's the thing. It could have been World War II, and then the idea of them bringing back mustard gas. And
Yeah.
like, it's illegal, and then it would actually make more sense instead of like at the end of the movie of there's no more war, honey. In 20 years, you're gonna get the worst war of all.
My question is, during that ballroom scene, right? Like she's running up on the bad guy, and she's like, "I'm gonna get him," and he like turns to her like he knows who she is. And my question is, what the fuck happened there? Like, why would he do what he did? I guess I was a little lost at that point in the movie because no one knows who Wonder Woman is, right? Like nobody's
Right.
supposed to know.
Yeah, and if you think about it, like one day earlier, about a few miles away, a building was attacked by troops of Allied forces. They wouldn't have reports right away that a single woman did this.
Yeah, right. And so kind of move through that ballroom scene really weirdly, and Steve gets her out of there.
And then they gas the city, and she gets upset at Steve for your classic "I don't love you, but you betrayed me" kind of thing.
Well, she doesn't understand, Bill. She just doesn't get it.
She just doesn't get
She
it.
just doesn't.
Still very cliche.
That's kind of the whole thing of Wonder Woman, though. She's strong and has abilities, but she just doesn't get it. And then Wonder Woman, yeah, and then Wonder Woman turns green and goes, and then like the credits roll. Like that's kind of what it felt like a lot in the movie.
Yeah.
It's like here's this thing Wonder Woman doesn't. She just doesn't understand.
And as soon as they have that whole fight, it instantly transitions to the end of the movie, like the final act,
Yeah.
which was very weird.
Yeah.
Weird up and down.
Yeah.
Right.
Because basically, we're gonna go over this real fast. You believe that General Stryker is the bad guy. He takes the venom pill. He then gets stabbed in the heart, and you're like, "That's it." And you're like, "Yeah, right. I've seen a movie before, honey. This isn't that movie." And like, they're gonna send a plane filled with mustard gas to London or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why the movie was so long. Misconception.
Yeah.
Oh, it's about time. It's
Brilliant.
over. Okay.
Oh shit.
Not.
Yeah.
Harry Potter Lupin shows up and is like, "I'm really Aries," and you're like, "Really? You?"
Oh, that's why you paid for this trip. I get it.
I want to manipulate you. Ha 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 ha.
Really?
Guess what? Wonder Woman just doesn't get it. Like the whole way this works. Like
Steve sacrifices himself on a plane. Tell me if you've seen this movie before. Step gods fight each other. Tell me if you've seen this movie before.
and then we're done. The movie's over.
And then we're done.
Guys, I feel like we didn't talk about what we actually liked about the movie. We said it was enjoyable, but yet Nothing we said was.
Well, Bill and I are here, so we're in island at the end, and everything sucks, and we're all gonna die, and this is terrible.
Becky just comes downstairs, by the way, and goes and says to me, "This is what I want to tell you. Was damn it, Steve, again? Really?" Oh, I love my wife.
Round of applause for Becky on that one.
Round of applause.
Becky!
Yay, Becky!
We're recording, so behave.
We bow to you. We bow to you. Damn it, Steve.
Damn it, Steve, again?
Again? Really?
Evil gas power? Okay.
That plot sounds really familiar.
Yeah.
Steve sacrificing himself. He can't
This is
get
a-
off the plane.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think I've seen that somewhere before.
Becky!
I love how we're ranking on the only DC movie that's good. We are assholes.
It's true.
I
It's
enjoy
true. It's the only one that's
The end
good.
was like,
You gotta mute- oh,
To be fair, we do this about our favorite movies
Yeah,
too.
it's
so...
true.
I think the biggest
It's
problem
true.
with the movie too is we end on like I get, and so I guess I got told by some Wonder Woman fans on Facebook, you know, Diana's thing is like love, like that's the thing, but we end on this most bullshit cliched speech that I feel like it was writing 101 at like a intro college class where they were like, hey, it's
Like
about
somebody submitted like a for a contest.
right?
and they were like,
You
know,
get to be in the Wonder Woman script at
Yeah.
the end.
yeah, and it's like she's like, you know, love makes us all strong, and she like punches Ares in the face, and you're like, I'm sitting there going, I've seen enough movies to see this speech 1,000 times. We get the ear ringing, we can't understand what Steve is saying, and then she remembers or something 30 seconds later.
On top of Act 3 surprise villain with big CG slugfest. Tell me you haven't seen any Marvel movie before ever.
Yeah, exactly. No,
Um,
seriously.
The one thing I did like, the only thing I liked in this was her conversation with Dr. Death, which is she's about to crush her with a tank and goes, "You know, you're wrong about them." That's the only thing I liked about the whole, and she puts
Right.
the tank
Yeah.
down, like that. That was a good like aha moment. It wasn't as strong as it
And-
could have been, but I liked it.
The other thing I really liked, okay, I'm not gonna say really liked, I enjoyed, was that they gave the guys in the army, the
Something
military
to do?
guys, they gave them something to do. They could have, I think, given them more to do, but
Right.
like you have these two kind of parallel running stories. Like Diane's gonna fight Ares so that the guys can get to the plane and hijack the plane
Yeah.
and get rid of it. And so you didn't just totally forget about like you did for the entirety of the movie. And you have Diane being a badass fighting Ares. So you had these two really cool parallel stories going on at the very end that kind of made I'm very hand gesturing today. Leave me alone. I'm finger guns. You had these two very cool parallel stories where characters were both doing good. I called
All right, wrap it up.
Wrap it up here.
yeah.
So the movie ends, and that's it. And like, the one thing I don't get is like in Batman v Superman, you get the idea that she has kind of hung up being Wonder Woman, that she doesn't want to be it anymore, and she's kind of done with it. And I don't get that feeling at the end of Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Well, that's because well,
So 100 years
I
between.
was gonna say
there's
like that time is different, but then I guess it isn't because she's met Batman at this point, and he's sending her like
Letter?
a not hate mail, but like I know who you are. Thought you'd like this video, like this
It's
picture.
a sort of
Right.
stalker,
What's our
to be
brother?
honest.
It's like
Like
we're supposed to get the idea. Like
Yeah.
I don't want it to end on like I didn't want it to end on a downer, but like it should have, because the idea of like the end of the movie, she's like love and like give humans a chance, but then she like removes herself from history for 100 years.
Obviously.
What?
And like the whole big thing in Superman that Batman says to her, it's like in Batman versus Superman, is that like why do like humans are good too?
Yeah,
you
it's-
know, like
I don't.
we're okay.
It's like she should have already known that at the end of Wonder Woman, which was 100 years in the past.
I know.
But then she doesn't feel.
100 years is a really long time, Bill. She probably just forgot.
Well, she is Wonder Woman.
She's got
and
dementia.
She doesn't quite know everything, right? We've
That's
established this.
That's one of my bigger things too. Is like nothing in this movie has any larger implication on anything going on in the rest of the DC universe. So
Why
like,
can't they connect the universe?
great movie, good job. But also none of this fucking matters.
Yeah, because at the point of Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, this is 100 years in the past. Just deal with it, boy.
And it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you're right. It has to be a Rogue One. It should be treated like a Rogue One situation.
Yeah, look, it is. It
Like-
is. It's essentially a DC Universe world story because none of this shit matters.
No.
None of it matters.
Right.
It's not like Chris Pine's gonna come soaring back in Justice League and like punch a bad guy in the face. It's not gonna happen. You know, that's why this movie is largely frustrating.
All right, so we've gotten through the whole movie. We're going to cover any extra negatives that we added on top of this, and anything positive. Because again, I think like we're ragging on it, but like it does. Listen, straight up, this deserves.
But we enjoyed it.
This movie deserves the praise for being the first DCEU movie that was good. This deserves the praise and
It does.
all of the hype for being the first female-led movie of a superhero genre that was worth your time and money. It really is.
Yeah.
Of course, that's a really low bar considering you have Catwoman, Elektra, and Supergirl. Woof.
Yeah.
Okay? But,
Yeah.
you know, you add on top of there, this was directed by a
Supergirl's
female.
not even a movie.
Oh, no, it is. It's 1970-something or 1980-something. It was awful. It was
It's
truly
bad.
awful.
It's very
Oh.
bad.
Yeah, but like, so like, yes, this deserves your praise for being the first female-led superhero movie and directed by a woman too. Awesome, great praise. But it's not the greatest
Whose
movie ever.
cat is yelling at us right now?
It's not drama. It's not
It's
my.
not Jonesy. Trust me, you'd know it's.
It
Jonesy.
was my roommates.
Oh.
Why your roommates sound like cats?
So like, I'm not taking away from that at all.
Yeah.
But like, if you've listened to the podcast before, you know that though I'm a big Marvel fan, I want DC to put out good movies. I want them to put good movies to challenge Marvel.
Competition makes everybody better.
But
Yes.
this is my biggest problem with Wonder Woman. They didn't challenge Marvel. They didn't.
Right.
They literally took the Marvel formula, put Wonder Woman in it, and put it out. And what we've just told Marvel, with our money and all the internet memes and everything, saying this movie's great and fantastic, was Marvel, keep doing what you're doing. Just put a woman in front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I want more out of Marvel movies.
Right.
Well, and I think
Because you have
I feel
Act
like
1 and
they
2
just wanted to make a profit.
no, I like.
They're like, so we're not going to try something new. We're not gonna like do anything crazy. We're just gonna follow the same. Yeah, we're gonna follow the same formula, and we're just gonna plug.
Which I get from
plug
a
and play
business
there.
standpoint, but it's like I'm frustrated because I want Marvel. For 10 years, Marvel has been making the same movie over and over and over again.
Exactly.
And
They
I'm
need to
getting,
push their limits too.
and it's like
I'm
it's like-
bored.
I don't think we've talked about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I actually really liked Volume 2.
Don't talk about it.
Okay, I'll keep it very spoiler free. Okay, can
We'll
not-
give you-
Okay, you can't. Okay, the ending fight scene was a big CGI fest. I'll give you. But like I felt like that was to like make fun of big CGI fight fests,
Yeah.
and it kind of worked, but it wasn't far enough away.
Yeah.
So for this movie to okay, you can go back. Okay.
There we go.
So for this movie to do a big CGI fight scene, like I'm just frustrated because I was like, show Marvel what you can do with, you know, what you have and make them be better. Because I
Right.
don't want Captain Marvel to be the same Marvel movie, but like in space.
Yeah.
In space.
That's
Hey, you know what though? Like, are they gonna make an Aquaman movie now?
yeah, they are.
No.
They're making an Aquaman
They are.
movie.
They,
Really?
Yeah.
So wait, Aquaman and like Flash are gonna get their movies
Yep,
after
and Cyborg.
Justice League.
And Cyborg.
After Justice League.
Yep,
That's gonna be so fucking weird. They did this all ass backwards.
they did.
Yeah, why did they do
the same thing
this
as
way?
backwards with Wonder Woman too. Like,
Origin story.
They should have done Wonder Woman before Batman v Superman. Like
They should.
I mean, maybe that was their like concept. Is they were like, why do the origin stories? Nobody wants the origin stories. They already got the origin stories. Let's do Batman versus Superman.
And then they all went.
Let's see if anybody's interested in these characters before we build a whole movie out of it.
Because you remember also they did Suicide Squad the same way of like we'll skip the origin stories and we'll make an Avengers like movie, and it still sucked.
We'll just clip show in their origins.
Which Chelsea don't watch
I
Suicide
still
Squad.
haven't watched Suicide Squad.
Don't.
So
I still have hesitated to watch.
I liked
that
it better than Batman vs Superman.
But that's not a high
I got
standard.
better shit to
No,
do. I'm
it's
gonna be
not.
completely
Like,
honest.
Suicide Squad's like the shiniest turd in the pile, but it's a hot topic turd is what it is.
Yeah.
But so here's the biggest thing that I've talked with a bunch of people about why I don't like Wonder Woman as much as I could.
Is it
And
our culture? Because I'm going to talk about that here in a minute.
Is it what?
Our culture? Because I'm going to talk about it here in a minute.
Oh, I'm gonna hop on that one too. The biggest thing for
I'll
me
hop on
though,
that too.
was the thing that we all talked about in the beginning. Geek ass side characters. I really would have loved it if, like, the whole picture she gets from Batman is a picture of her with all of the guys in her little army group. And I thought it would have been great to not just see the relationship between her and Steve grow, but her relationship between her and Charlie and Sam and Chief grow as a unit. So, like, you've got moments where they're fighting where, like, Wonder Woman grabs Charlie's gun and throws it to him and is then, giving Sam a machine gun or throwing more ammo to him, and then she runs forward and they're covering her. Like, I felt like Sam and Charlie specifically were introduced as characters to be like, these people don't really live the dreams they wanted to live. Sam wanted to be an actor. Charlie's a killer, but he's really a guy who plays piano sometimes. Like I felt like if they would have went more in depth with that, I know, and would have let them bond with Wonder Woman, it would have felt like a more cohesive film.
They're like the guys from the Rapunzel, the Disney Rapunzel cartoon.
Yeah.
What's their song?
I
Those
had a
are those
dream.
characters.
I had
I
a
had
dream.
a dream.
And now I'm just a shitty side character in a
Also-
movie.
You're just duct tape
Also, their
tangled under here.
characters. Yeah. Also, their characters are not as significant. I realize because again, they're part of that cookie cutter Captain America mold. They're the same characters from Captain America's Entourage.
Yeah, the Dum Dum
Like-
Dugans and
Does anyone remember
Exactly,
anyone besides Bucky from that movie?
yeah. Well, I remember Dum Dum Dugan because he's supposed to have a
Dum
big
Dum
part in the
Dugan, of
comics.
course.
Also, it's Neil McDonough, and I love him. Is it Neil McDonough? I don't remember his name, but I love him. The guy who
But
plays him.
still, like those characters are already vague enough, and then they just like throw these characters into that
Right.
same mold
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
And I would have loved it. I would have loved it if it would have built that unit of military as a group, because that's how the movie starts. We're going to the front. We're going to go do this. And like, it would have been great if at the end, when Diana's fighting her fight and the military guys are fighting their, that like they're crossing over. Diane's throwing her shield and knocking out an enemy soldier, and they're shooting at Ares. Like, there's this nice cross, but it just felt so subpar. They felt so
Yep.
secondary.
Anyone want to else add anything before I open this can of worms of
That's.
of
Are we
social
gonna
media
piss
suicide?
everyone off?
Open
We're
the
gonna-
can of worms.
Yeah.
Open
Okay,
it.
so as hyped as I was getting for this movie, the one thing I really hate currently is our certain culture right now on the internet of clickbait, and everything has to be the greatest or the worst,
Yeah.
and it comes down to
That's not what I
like,
thought you were talking about.
oh no, if you have something else, I'd love to hear it. But like
No. I want to hear this.
one thing that like I've been joining this bandwagon of hilarity of someone posting like, it's so nice to see Wonder Woman, a movie with a leading female in a fantasy/science fiction movie for the first time. And time out real quick. Hey everybody, what's my favorite movie of all time? Alien.
Aliens.
I grew up.
What?
Hold on, time out. Also, what is probably considered one of the greatest action movies ever created? Terminator 2 with Sarah Connor. Oh God! So I got my pillars. My pillars of growing up in the world of movies was Ellen Ripley and Sarah Connors, basically telling me that women can kick ass and shoot bubblegum just as much as the men.
Yeah. Or you know, like the woman who kills hundreds of people to get revenge on her husband's death, aka the bride from Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. Like, it's not my fault you're ignorant to film.
Right.
This is what pisses me off. This is what really pisses me off. Don't run around and be like, there's no good women in movies. No.
Yeah.
It's not my, you've never fucking picked up a fucking movie before.
Right.
And watch. And then
Think
the argument.
about the women, like the leading women, like for me, it's like the leading women in, like, you know, Resident Evil and the Underworld, like
series.
the Underworld series, like, that is what I grew up going and watching those kind of movies with my dad. And so it's like the fact that there's no strong women, like no women, granted they're not superheroes,
But like,
Yeah.
they're action stars.
even that is like kind of a slap in the face, because I've said it before on this podcast that my favorite character in the MCU, because they are well written and actually have a story arc that carries off from movie to movie, is Black Widow. Like, she is the only literal character in the whole series of movies that grows as a character from movie to movie. I'm sorry, but Captain America from Civil War is the same Captain America at the beginning of First Avenger. Tony Stark keeps doing the same arc over and over again, and I'm pissed off. Thor is just Thor.
Thor sucks.
But if you take Black Widow from Iron Man 2, which is I will get the job done no matter what,
Yeah.
to where she is at the end of Civil War, is a well-rounded, arced character that actually feels like a living person.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think.
part of the reasons why Winter Soldier is one of my favorite movies of the superhero genre is actually because of her. She has these moments in it where she's talking about fear, about how she's handled the Winter Soldier before, the loss of basically a father figure in Nick Fury. But what does she do? She still takes care of Steve. She goes up against the Winter Soldier, probably her biggest fear. This is coming from a woman who just literally out-tricked the trickster god of Asgard, who has no problem fighting aliens, but is afraid of an assassin because she got shot by him once. And what does she do? She grabs a gun and goes on one-on-one against him when Steve needs help. Like,
I mean,
Black Widow as a character.
and just her character in general, like coming from her backstory, like
Yeah.
to just being part of
The
Shield
Red Room.
or
The Red Room, and like
Yeah.
her being an assassin, to going
Yeah.
to Shield, to doing that, and like
Mhm.
right now, let's get it out of the way because I actually expected one of you girls to fight me on this. I really did. The whole the whole Ultron scene where she goes, "I'm a monster because I can't have kids." If you can't read that subtext, that's not my problem. The subtext of her talking to Bruce Banner about the only guy she could possibly like, which is also brought up early in the movie about how she's attracted to him because she doesn't want to fight, is the reason why she's attracted to him, which I don't have a problem with that love story because it makes sense. She says, hey, I can't give you this life either, even though I want it, which is why I've been living vicariously through Hawkeye to have a family. But I can't. Because she's been living that extraordinary life of, I've been around the world, I've seen everything, I've done these elaborate vacations. I just want the life, because I'm not going to be able to do this much anymore. But I can't do it, so you and me are on the same page. We can never have this. We can be together and not have this and find a peace in our world. That's what she meant by, I'm a monster because I murdered people. I have literally murdered people for money, for greed, for everything wrong in the world, but I'm a monster. And I can't give you the farm and the kids and everything. That is a powerful moment that the internet just went like, this is so wrong, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I hate that. Because like everyone's saying, oh, finally a strong woman in movies. And I'm like, fuck you. I grew up watching Ellen Ripley and Sarah Connor and Ellen, what's her name from, I don't remember because I haven't seen it in years, but I loved A Long Kiss Goodnight. Because that movie is like Die Hard 2 times a billion with Gina Davis in it, and it's great. I loved Resident Evil. I loved the Underworld films. You know, if you want to talk about like not even main characters, but like The Bride or fucking Catwoman in Batman Returns. For Christ's sake, she is empowered and awesome and kicks ass and chews bubblegum. Hell, even the Queen in 300, about how she is not even part of the war, but takes over the political side of the whole situation.
Yeah.
Princess Leia, Rey, fucking Natalie Portman in any movie she's ever in. Don't talk to me about how there isn't strong leading women.
Yeah. Well, and then so I think that's for me the biggest thing that ruined Wonder Woman for me was the fucking fan base, the fucking people who wouldn't shut up about it. It's like I get it, she's good, she's a superhero. It's the first one with a superhero woman in the title, Wonder Woman. Ba ba. It's there. But she's not the first. She won't be the last, and she's definitely not the greatest.
But I'm glad that she got a good movie that deserves
Yes.
deserves to be on my shelf next to all the other films. It does. I
Yeah.
wouldn't put it in the top
But
5, or maybe the top 10, but I'm saying I'm glad it's there.
But I agree with what Billy said. It's not our fucking fault. It's like that these people have never picked up a fucking movie before.
It gets me so
it's true.
angry.
It's like, what have
it's
you
true.
been watching?
That fan base.
Cartoons?
Well,
Like,
Yeah.
Well, we had like my friend posted this, and I love her to death, and I need to hang out with her more. I've been friends with her forever, but like she posted this comment about like, you know, that exact thing about Wonder Woman being the only fantasy science fiction movie, and it just shows a picture of Ellen Ripley going, fucking excuse me, what? And like people just started posting pictures of leading ladies in movies, and it was hilarious because even someone would post Mary Poppins, and I'm like, yeah, no, for real,
but for real though.
you know.
Mary Poppins a bad bitch.
It's the fan base, though. The people that really enjoyed
Yep.
this movie, I feel like, are people who aren't, like, maybe from our background. Like, it's just like the average woman or, like, mother and daughter nerds. The average mother and daughter who, like, went to see this film and, like, was like, yeah, this is a great woman empowering movie, which is, like, it is, but...
There's
Point
other
made.
examples. Well, it's like, well, even if you want to talk about a woman empowering movie, Billy saw this. I don't know if you guys did, but I also don't think you'll care. Is I took my son to go see Cars 3. Okay,
I saw it for camp.
I have not seen that one.
And I was like, oh god, this is gonna be bad. But like the whole story arc, full on spoilers for Cars 3, is that Lightning McQueen is getting too old to race.
Yeah.
And he's trying to make a last hurrah. And like the person who's supposed to be training him, she's actually better at it than him, and he realizes she should take over for him in the last race. And it's like he's like, I know I can't do this, she can. So he puts her in, and like the main villain, who's like totally one note, is like, what? The girl in the costume?
Hey, you leave Nathan Fillion alone.
No, that
He's a
wasn't.
god.
No, it wasn't him. It was Armie Hammer, who's Jackson Storm, is like the girl in the costume. And in many ways, that movie is more empowering for women than Wonder Woman, because it's the idea of Lightning McQueen being the old status of only guys can do this, and Lightning going, no, she's better. She should have a chance. She should do this. And like the new age, no, only men can do it, kind of steps in, and she wins the race. Like, it's weird that Wonder Woman didn't do it as well as fucking Cars 3.
Or even either of the Lego movies. Go watch the Lego movie. What's her name? Wildstyle?
Yeah.
Like, great female character. You go watch fucking Lego Batman. Barbara Gordon in Lego Batman is amazing. She's a great character. Very strong, powerful character. So, yeah. That's my biggest problem is it's not my fault. And then I always pursue that argument. It's like, well, how many movies have you watched? How many movies have you tried to search? And then I get told, well, the ratio's off.
Well, of course the ratio's off. It's going to be off. And I'm glad that this is a good movie to put it in the positive part of the ratio.
Right.
You know?
But also, I will say that for every one great female leading movie, there's about 40 shitty, terrible movies with men in the action lead.
Yeah.
For every one of that, there's a shitty, XXX film or whatever you want to call it. So quality over quantity. I'd take quality any day.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, we had a friend that posted on there about, she had a conversation, we're not going to say the name, with her fiance about or boyfriend about, it's nice to see you, why are you tearing up all emotional? Because it was nice to see a woman fight the bad guys for once. And he's like, oh, like that's never happened before. And she's like, name one. And he couldn't. And I was like, I want to slap you, the guy, for being an idiot.
Well, right. But for real though.
Even if they're not like the main character, women have been very strong in certain movies. Like the Hellboy series I have over there, Liz Sherman is probably one of the strongest leading females I've seen next to a literal demon, It's just like things like that where I'm just like, I'm frustrated at our society for this whole clickbait culture
Right.
And on top of that, everything has to be the greatest. So everyone's like, this movie is amazing. And I was like, I can't wait to see it because I want this to be good. I've wanted this to be good since Batman v Superman was bad. And I saw it and I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, this was a Marvel movie all over again.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like, it was the wake up point where I started feeling fatigued on the whole situation of the Marvel movie. So I'm actually worried for Spider-Man. I'm deathly worried for Thor. I'm worried about everything now because
I'm really excited for Thor Ragnarok, though. I am excited for Thor Ragnarok.
Okay,
It's the first Thor movie I'm excited for.
Chelsea, since I didn't hit your culture problem, what was your culture problem?
It was the fan base / I mean, it's the fan base / like the PC culture.
Yeah.
If I be so bold, I mean, it's like
Great. Here comes the dislikes. Here
mixed
comes the
together.
dislikes.
So,
Well, it's like
it's just like too much. I mean, that's where you get the Native American character. That's where you get the, like, you know, it's just like they're just trying too hard. Like, you're taking something that was written in a time where these things didn't exist yet. These strong female characters and all these other things existed in these comics, and you're trying to make it something it's not. So that was kind of where I was going. But
it's just like the culture that we live in currently just breeds this, and it upsets me.
Yeah.
And like,
It was really
But
hard
again,
too.
it's not like we've ever cared.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say it that way. We, like, as our own subculture, I guess, have never had to go out and look for these strong female characters or pin male characters against. It's not what we look for, which for me,
right.
in my brain, like, that's true. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like I've ever been grasping at straws for female representation in the type of movies that that I watch, ever.
And
Literally ever.
And
like, maybe that's my age group, and like maybe that's, I don't know, the way that I've been raised. I've never felt like anybody's like not giving me something.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like I almost wish you two ladies had a different opinion on this, because I wanted to get this argument instead of us just beating against that side.
Should have had Claudia.
I mean, yes, it's exciting
because
when they announce like a Jessica Jones series or, you know, Supergirl. Like, that's
we
exciting.
forget about Jessica Jones.
When Wonder Woman
forget
was
Jessica Jones
announced,
because it was a
like,
TV.
okay. Yeah, but like when those things were announced, yes, like that was exciting, but
it
it's
wasn't
not.
like
it
wasn't a
doesn't.
movie.
You don't have to have those. Like,
Yeah.
true.
And having a leading woman doesn't instantly make it good. It doesn't make it instantly amazing.
Like
Yeah,
season
if
1 of Supergirl.
Or
Yeah.
Catwoman starring Harley
If-
Berry.
If we can focus on telling, I think that Hollywood needs to focus on telling good, strong stories. And if they start with that, then we move into just
Strong
good
character
you know.
development.
Well, it's
And-
like, it just feeds into
Maybe
the,
great fight sequences.
And better CGI.
Too far.
we can only have 1 out of 2.
Sorry,
You're
I
asking for
can't.
too much, Chelsea. You're asking for too much.
It's one of those things that I wish, like I said, I wish you guys had that other opinion, because I wanted to know more without picking fights with people I don't know or know they won't get offended by me saying something stupid. But it's like, I saw Alien 3 when I was 9. All right? So in very early age, it was women can do anything men can and or possibly better. Like, I watched Star Wars, 4, 5, and 6 since I don't even remember. And like, you can say, oh, but Princess Leia was playing the damsel in distress in A New Hope. But what does she do as soon as she gets out of the jail cell? Takes the gun from Han Solo and starts shooting people. And comes up with a plan to escape. It's like, yeah, she might not have been the main character, but like I don't know a time in life where women were presented to me as the weaker. Like,
It was before our time.
yeah, it's like
It was.
there have been, but like my brain has been imprinted on since a very young age that women can be total badasses and there's no problem with it.
Hey, Bill.
And I
maybe
guess,
we need to
especially in our culture. Sorry.
What?
No. I'm just saying maybe we need to run with this and get a bunch of people together and have this conversation between get like 4 women, 4 men together, and let's do
A
it.
battle of the sexes.
I'm for
No,
it.
we're not fighting. We're equal.
We're
equal of the.
equal.
Yeah.
Equal of the sexes. A treaty of the sexes, if you will.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Chelsea. Go ahead.
No, I interrupted you. No, I was just I was just
It's like
confirming.
it's like what we said. It's the same culture of like why I hated Doctor Who for so long, because the fans are just purely toxic, and it was like Wonder Woman's getting to the way of being purely toxic, and I was like, don't do this to a good movie that DC needs a win, and even in the women's superhero film needs a win. Don't make it toxic, please don't. You know.
I guess what I was gonna say is I suppose film at a large maybe had that struggle with like predominant male characters and not strong female characters, but in our like subgenres of action and sci-fi, they were still ever present.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's like, it's the idea that I grew up with apparently this bubble that apparently everybody wants to get in on, going, no, ladies can be awesome. Sorry.
Yeah.
So this is nothing new to me. In fact, I was looking at everything else except her performance.
Turns out Joss Whedon had some pretty good ideas.
Right? Yeah, like anybody. Well, by the way, anybody who's attacking Joss Whedon over stuff right now, I want to throw a brick at you, because Buffy the Vampire Slayer, both movie and TV show. And,
hey, I've already got some of my shit deleted on the internet because I told someone that the Joss Whedon script that was written 11 years ago was written just that 11 fucking years ago. And Joss Whedon as a person, I guarantee you it's changed. If you can tell me that you were the same person you were 11 years ago, I don't know if you heard.
There's something wrong with you.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard about the leaked script that Joss Whedon wrote for the original Wonder Woman. It was written like 11, 12 years ago, and it was very sexual. It's very, very, very sexual. The character descriptions were very sexual, but like, yet again, Joss Whedon was 11 years younger. I'm 25. I can't say at 14 I was the same person I am now.
Even then,
you probably cared a whole lot more about boobies.
Yeah, well,
probably.
Even then, if they were just descriptions, that was something that didn't matter. It's like in a script, the only thing that matters is dialogue. Everything else can be changed on the go. So I don't get that.
Right.
And it's like on top of that, you're fighting with Joss Whedon, who's been the main proponent for women to be the leads in movies forever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Buffy, Firefly, fucking Dollhouse, for Christ's sake.
Dollhouse?
Yeah, like he took Black Widow from eye candy in Iron Man 2 to an actual developed character in Avengers. Come on, people, why are you doing this?
They're trying to tear down. Well, they're tearing down the people that are championing for them because they made one mistake. Yeah. Because they did one thing that they didn't like, so now fuck this guy. And now that guy is just not going to do anything anymore.
Right.
Like, why should he? Why should he do anything to help your cause when you were being an asshole when he tried? So they get this outrage culture the fuck out. Yeah. Like, let's move on to something else. Can we just worry about making good movies? Yeah. Like, that's all I really...
Good original movies?
It was hard for me to see Wonder Woman 2 because I backed it up with It Comes at Night, which, Bill, we need to talk about that movie at some point, or anyone else.
I'll get to it.
Watching It Comes at Night right after Wonder Woman made Wonder Woman feel so much cheaper because It Comes at Night is a phenomenal film.
Is that a horror movie?
Yeah,
it's pseudo-horror. Don't watch the trailers. The trailers vastly misrepresent that film. But... it was a great movie, and after watching it after something like Wonder Woman, I found Wonder Woman largely forgettable.
Well, this is like a slight tangent. It was like I went to go see Cabin in the Woods, like sandwiched with Lockdown, which was a Guy Pearce movie that me and my brother had more fun with than Cabin in the Woods. Yeah. So when Cabin in the Woods blew up, I was like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, right. I get it. But I was like, so let's close this out real quick. With our final kind of score thing. Chelsea, out of percentage, what would you give Wonder Woman? With a final like little blurb review.
I would say 73 to 78. I don't know, like somewhere in there. It's like
a 70-ish.
Good. 70-ish. Like, you know, it's good, it's enjoyable, but again, just so many things wrong, and like, of course I'll watch it again. I was gonna go see it again tonight, but
okay.
But
Billy, if you could give it a grade.
Oh yeah, I would give
you're a
it
teacher.
I would give it a C minus.
So
C.
70%.
Yeah, like a 70. I want to give it a 72.386%. So it's very close to a solid C, but it's a C minus. And my little blurb would be: don't overthink it. Go in, watch it, have fun. Don't overanalyze it like we're doing now, because then you start realizing how many flaws are in it when you overanalyze.
And hopefully you won't watch it. Like, watch this before you watch the movie.
Yeah,
Right.
Oops.
Turn your
don't.
brain off. Turn your brain off. Go along for the
Yeah.
ride, and you're really gonna love it.
Jess, if you can give it a score out of 5 stars, what would you give it?
Oh, out of 5 stars, I would probably get it.
We're
I would
covering
say
all the bases.
I would say like a 3.5, 4. Let's go 4.
Okay.
I'll lean to 4. I would absolutely, because the thing is, like, I feel like I can watch it again, and I might even see more things than I saw the first time. But and it's just a matter. It's out of 5 star. I would seriously say 3.5.
Okay, 3.5 stars.
Because I don't think that I would watch it like it's not like something I could just pop in and continuously rewatch.
Okay.
I have to watch it a fixed amount of times.
Okay. I give it a Captain America: The First Avenger crazy glued to Thor out of 10 because that's what it is. It's this. I haven't watched a lot of movies this year. Really, it's nowhere near the worst. Alien Covenant being the worst, because it was awful. But like, in the superhero genre, it is probably my second favorite one, only because it was better in my mind than Logan. I know I'm gonna get crucified for it, but again, I was so fatigued on Logan, and the story, the plot outlasted the plot that they had for it, and then the length of the movie was unnecessary for Logan, and this was starting to go there, but like. The best superhero movie I've still seen this year was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yes.
But I liked it better than the original. No, I'm not going to spoil it. I liked it better than the original, and that's it. So, like, you know, if you understand that bar of how good Guardians 1 was, I liked it better than 1. So, like, Wonder Woman wasn't going to get there anywhere. But it was good. It was a good movie. It deserves the praise for being the first female-led superhero film with a female director. I wish they would have cut down on the slow motion, and they would have cleaned up the CG and probably tightened the story a little bit. But and made it better. So ultimately, I was disappointed because it was Captain America crazy glued to Thor. Okay. And with that, everyone say goodnight because we're done.
Good night, or good morning, or good
good morning,
afternoon,
whatever
whatever
it is.
you're watching this
Good
or not watching it.
evening.
Chelsea, thank you so much for being on. We're going to have you on more.
Thanks for having me.
Yay!
because we miss your face. Okay, that's it.
Oh,
Take care, everybody. Go see the movie. It was good. Go see it again if you feel like it. And let's hope Justice League doesn't suck.
It's gonna suck. We all know it's gonna suck. Finger
We all
guns.
kind of thought that Wonder Woman.
Should we
sucked
go?
too, though, and
I feel. Oh, I'm totally giving it a pass because of Zack Snyder's personal problems right now. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how bad it is. It's getting a pass.
right.
So,
They're gonna suck.
good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.